Hey, Terry.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, actually. It's a really pleasant day. I'm really surprised how clear the water is. It's so clean
Yeah, I know.
and clear.
Have you been having a good time here?
Yeah, I have. It's been good.
Yeah?
It's been a good respite in some ways. But doing an independent film, a low-budget independent film, can be a little trying. But everyone works together. You've got to in this way. But I think we're turning out some good stuff. We've got some good footage.
How long you been working on this one? You can talk to me.
I think we've been at it for about 2 years now. Almost. I started the original shoot when we first started, and then a couple of months after we finished, I went back to add some more scenes, and then I got a phone call from Jon about 3 weeks ago saying, hang on, we're going to, 2 weeks ago, saying we're going to add some more. Would you feel like coming to Ibiza? I said, absolutely. I'd never been to Ibiza. I'd never come here, so it was great.
How did you first get involved in this one? How did Jon contact
Well,
you?
I was doing a film called Henry X, and Jon was playing a part in it. And then Jon told me about it, and he said, listen, I'll call you if it happens, and he did.
How interesting. So I didn't hook you up with Jon. You met him on a shoot.
Actually, no. You actually did hook me up with Jon, but when he told me about this film, it was on Henry X. I first met Jon at Zero Pictures, at the meetings we used to have at your place in Santa Monica.
Got it. Yeah. No,
That's when I first met him.
Okay. It doesn't pertain to this interview. I just was curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
cool.
that's when I first met him, and we got on because you showed him my reel,
Right.
and he liked the work, but we'd never had reason to work together until we were doing Henry X, and then he told me about it.
Got it. Beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And so did you end up auditioning, you said, or did you just...
No, he just asked me to do it.
Okay, fantastic. And how many days total have you worked, would you say?
On this?
Yeah, over the last...
On the first shoot, we did all my stuff in a week and a half, and then when we were in Miami, and then I went and spent a couple of days with a friend in Fort Myers, and then went back to LA. Then about 3 months later, he called me and asked me to come back for 3 days, and I came back and we did some more.
Can you tell me a little bit? Oh, sorry, you were going to say something.
No, and then now this, and I've been here a week.
I'm sorry. Can you tell me a little bit about your character? What's he like? How also? Well, start with what's he like.
Well, he's a loser. You know, when I first read it, there was a quality about him because he tried. He really tried to do things. He tried to play the game, but he was like a square peg trying to be in a round hole. He's a next door neighbor. He's Hound Dog's next door neighbor, and he's getting on in years as I am. And he'd see Hound Dog bringing a different girl home every night, and he'd be going out to different clubs and different places, and he can never score, never get a girl. Yet he'd see him and he'd hear him through his wall, getting laid all the time, and with all these lovely girls, and it just drove him crazy. And it was great because Jon let me go with the character. He let me take the character to a bit of an extreme. Like each time I'd go out, I'd be going to a party or a fancy dress ball or somewhere. I'd go with a hairpiece on, but I'd always come home with nothing. You know, I'd always try these different techniques, and I'd always come home with nothing. So he let me go with that. He let me create these areas instead of just going in and out as the same person all the time. he let me create the color of the character, and it was great. It started to give the character some life, and then eventually he cracks, and he sends notes to the three women, and exposes John's whole game, and they all come together, and they gang up on him, and then I walk in, and I said, "Aha, I gotcha," you know. And then it turns on my character again. It turns on me, and I end up pulling a gun, and they think I'm going to threaten them, but I'm actually threatening them with me. But they talk me out of it, and the police come and take me to jail. And then the next thing you know, I've kind of contemplated, and I've come back, and John and I have a conversation where we kind of pour out ourselves to each other, and my character, I finally admit that, you know, I can talk the talk a lot, but I can't really walk the walk, where he can. And next thing you know, I'm picking up his luggage at the airport in Ibiza, and we've taken it from there. You know? And I'm kind of like his assistant here.
You like what?
Like his assistant.
Your character's his assistant.
Yeah. So, you know, because I'm going to a place where there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of women, and so on, and he's, you know, maybe things will get better. But I've created a friendship, because before I never even had a friend, and now I do, and that's good, you know. Maybe the moral is a good friendship is better than the one-night stand thing, you know, no matter what, you know.
What do you think's remarkable about this film? Unique, interesting, fascinating?
Well, he's going at it because you've never really seen the whole DJ scene. I've never seen it on film, and I've been introduced to a side of music that I didn't really know about, and it's quite complicated and quite involved, and people are very into it. I mean, you go to some of these rave clubs, and they're just so into it. So I'm just, you know, it's opened up a whole new area.
Cool.
Don't you know?
Good. Can you tell me a little bit about you as an actor, how you got started, and what you're trying to do as an artist?
Oh, I got started in Australia. I used to play in a rock band years ago when I was younger, and but I'd always, from the age of 8, wanted to be an actor, because my dad used to take us to the drive-in, and I'd go to see a movie, and then I'd go and see another movie, and I'd see the same actors in them, and I'd think about it, and I'd go, "Well, that's interesting." And I said to my dad, I said, "You know, they're allowed to be anyone they like up there," and I kind of felt there'd be a freedom up there to do that, and it really appealed to me, and I said, "That's what I want to do," you know, at the age of 8, and because I remember when I used to go and play with the neighborhood kids, you know, play cowboys and Indians or whatever, I always played for real. It was always real to me. So when I was 20, almost 21, I joined an amateur theater company, and they were doing musicals, and I joined a show called Where's Charlie? Taking from Charlie's Aunt. This is in Melbourne, Australia, where I grew up. And I really liked it. I was, you know, in that show, they needed dancers, so I could dance, but I wasn't a dancer, but I learned the choreography, and I really had a good time. But the second play I did was, musical I did was Desert Song, where I played Hussy, the bloodthirsty cutthroat, and I felt so great. I felt on that stage, I felt at home. I felt, you know, like I could just do what I wanted to do. I just felt a freedom I hadn't felt before, and so it really went from that.
And what were your first? Tell me about some of your first few film roles.
I was in Sydney, and I'd done some television, and I auditioned for a film called Drugs and the Law at the Australian Film Unit, it was called at that time. And I went in there to do this audition, and Keith Gow, who was the writer-director, it was an anti-drug film, and he said, listen, we're just sketching out a scene here. We've got a script written, but we're just sketching out a situation here with 2 alternative endings. Do you want to read this and learn this, or would you like to improvise something? I said, I'll improvise something. So they gave me, with another actor, a situation where I had to try and get drugs from him, and we had 2 alternative endings. One where he gives it to me, and one where I don't get it. And so I've really got to try and convince him to give me this dope, this smack. And it went really well. And as soon as we did it, the director said, you know, because they shot it on 16mm. And the director said, yeah, well, you've definitely got the part, so we'll see you. But what happened was, when they were screening it, Peter Weir, who was working at the Commonwealth Film Unit at the time, happened to walk into the theaterette and see it. And he wanted to meet me. And so on the shoot of Drugs and the Law, Keith told me that Peter wanted to meet me. And Peter was the new bright-haired boy in Australia. He just won an award for directing a short film called Homesdale, a black and white film. And so I met with Peter, and we just talked for about 4 hours. And he said there was a film that he was going to do with a very well-known rock singer in Australia at the time by the name of John Farnham and Olivia Newton-John. It was going to be a vampire film, and I was going to play John's manager. And I said, okay, you know, and we talked. And then I didn't hear from him for a while. And then I went to the screening of Drugs and the Law, and Keith said, Peter's been trying to call you. Did you move? I said, yeah, I moved. And he said he wants to talk to you about this project he's doing. I said, okay. And so I called him, and I just got a phone call from Disney and NBC, because I originally toured Australia and New Zealand with a show called Disney on Parade, and that had finished. But then they called me and asked me to join the European cast. So and I accepted, because I didn't think anything was happening with this film with Peter. So I go in and meet Peter, and he said, listen, we're not doing that film, but we're doing another film called The Cars That Ate Paris, a black comedy, and I want you to play the lead. I said, oh, yeah, I'd love to play it, but I'm leaving next week for Europe. I said, when are you going to start, when are you going to do it? And he said, about 9 months. I said, well, I'm going to be away for 11. He said, we'll wait for you. And they did. And I came back, we finished, toured Europe, England and Brazil, finished in Brazil. I came straight back to Australia, and we did The Cars That Ate Paris. And that's where my film, that's where I started to get credibility.
Why, this is the last question, and then we're going to go for some sound bites. Why are you an artist? Why are you an actor? Why is it so important to you to do what you do?
There are a few answers to this question. One of them is that in front of a camera or on stage, I'm allowed to be anyone I want. I'm allowed to, it gives me the place to express my emotions without judgment, without fear of being judged, or as a person. As the character, fine, but there's a freedom there. And I just go into a different space. It's an amazing feeling. You know, people get it in different ways. They get it surfing. They get it in different ways, you know. But I love it. And it's a way to express or to mirror life in one way or another.
And what is important for you as a communicator? What do you want your audience to experience in your
The truth.
performances?
That's ultimate, if I can. I don't always get that opportunity because the projects that I do um, haven't always been aligned to that. But you know, you be as honest you can in the character that you're playing, and I can't afford. I don't think any actor can afford to judge their character. They've got to play them for the truth that they are, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, whether they've got problems emotionally or whatever. You've got to play them for what they are, and if they're played honestly, I think you can free yourself of those emotions or those hidden places within yourself. And I think in that way it's kind of therapeutic.
Okay, now I stepped on the opening of that, so one more time. What would you say is the most important thing you want to communicate to people? I stepped on the beginning of your answer when you said the truth. So go back to kind of the soundbite. If you were putting it into a soundbite, you know, what do you want to express as an artist? What do you want people to feel? You've answered.
I would like people to relate emotionally from what they see on the screen to them. It's really interesting. I'll tell you, I think the new church now is the cinema, for instance, because people go to the cinema and they open themselves emotionally to feel, whereas in life we don't. And they release emotion, or they allow themselves to receive emotion from that screen, where and actually touch them. And I think that's what I would like for people to give a performance where people can be touched.
Right. Now we're going to go for a few just sound bites, okay? So what you want to do is you want to try to get your answers really snappy into words and stuff, okay?
All right.
What does Hey DJ mean to you? And yeah, you can take your time. But
another opportunity for expression.
Okay. What is Hey DJ about?
About what it takes, or what it takes to be a DJ.
What's cool about Hey DJ? What's very distinct about Hey DJ?
About this film?
Mm-hmm.
There are less boundaries.
Okay, give me whatever comes to mind when I ask you to describe Hound Dog, to describe Jon's character.
He's an innocent.
Okay.
And he grows, you know.
Sorry, I stepped on you. Say that again.
He's an innocent, but he grows. And where he takes it, I don't know where he's taken until we get to the end. Okay. Because there's a lot of improvisation and reflection in it, so I'm not really sure right now where he's taken it.
You, as an artist of life, in a couple words, or one word, describe yourself. Try to find the essence of you.
Journeyman.
Okay. And then you, as an actor specifically, and what you're saying to people.
As an actor and what I'm saying to people?
Yeah, as an artist in life, or as a human being. You said you're a journeyman?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's the same thing for your career, your choice to be an actor. But if you had to
It is the same. That's a journey. Each one is a journey.
Okay, very good. Give me a word or two for what makes an actor great.
You know,
Doesn't have to be one word. It can be a phrase or a sentence.
You know,
What makes a performance stand out?
the perspective that the actor has on it,
Who are
and
your-
the honesty, and the perspective the actor has on it, and the honesty which he or she delivers it.
Okay. Now, for that one, okay, include the question itself. So for instance, what makes an actor's performance remarkable is, and then continue with
What
you've said.
can make an actor's performance remarkable is the point of view they see the character in and the choices they make, and the honesty from which they attack it.
How do you want to be remembered?
For the variation of work that I've done.
Lovely. And what's your favorite color?
Green.
Can you think of a story in your life, preferably brief, a moment in your life, something you experienced or witnessed that changed the way you think, that shifted you entirely, that made you choose a path that you never imagined yourself choosing, that made you change your entire belief system about something? Is there something so powerful in your life that you can recall, that you can actually put into a story, you know, that you remember the moment and you remember what you experienced? And can you tell that story? I know it's a hard one.
I did quite a lot of work in Australia, and I did a number of films, quite a few. And I just finished a film called The Night the Prowler, Patrick White short story that Jim Sharman directed. And I went to the premiere of, well, the night before I went to the premiere of that film, I was working as a waiter in a restaurant. Well, it was a function at the top of a hotel, because Australian actors at that time didn't get paid a lot of money, and I was kind of building up. And it was really interesting because I would be serving these people drinks at this prestigious party, and then the next day I'm at the State Theatre at the opening of the Sydney Film Festival, and The Night the Prowler opened the festival, and after the screening, with this black tie affair, I was being introduced to these people as one of the stars of the film. And some of the people that I was serving drinks to the night before, I was being introduced to. And some of them would come, especially this older woman. She looked at me and she couldn't believe, because I kept on bringing her whiskeys. She kept on saying, bring me another one, bring me another one. And she didn't know what to think. She couldn't put the two in. She knew she recognized me from somewhere, but the placement was strange, because now she's being introduced to me as one of the stars of the film. And before, I was waiting on her. It was strange. And I thought a lot about the work that I was doing and what was in the way of taking it the next step. And I was sitting on the steps there, and I was, you know, people would come up when you're in a movie that's just opening, and different people that offer you scripts, whether they're going to be done or not's another thing. And all of a sudden you're the flavor. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, okay, I could play this out and just enjoy it, or go away and feed my head and my heart. If I really want to be the best that I can be, I need to expand my perception of life and my perception of myself. So I decided to do that. And the following week I got a plane to Bali with a backpack, and I went overland through Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and India. I was going to take 6 months, but it took almost 2 years. And then I went up to Moscow and down through Europe, and then to Paris and then London. And I worked again in London. But it really opened up the possibilities of the characters, not only the characters that I can play, but the understanding of life and what goes with it. Does that answer your question?
Sure. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, tell me about DJ, how it all started.
Okay, I moved from Los Angeles to Miami, and I was immediately struck by dance music, because in LA I found that I was listening to alternative rock on the radio, just alternative music, hip hop, okay, try not to sneeze. Okay, I get my third attempt at explaining how did Hey DJ come about, why is it important to me. I moved from Los Angeles to Miami, and when I moved to Miami I pretty much heard for the first time dance music on the radio, and I was struck by the energy. I also was overwhelmed by the lines and the crowds outside the clubs. Obviously Miami, South Beach is famous for its clubs, and the flyers all over the place marketing DJs, and I just thought, wow, you know, I should make a movie about a DJ because people actually go to see DJs, whereas, you know, in general all the subjects that I've tackled as an independent filmmaker, they don't really, there's no lines around the blocks, you know what I mean? Like, they don't queue up around the block to see a love story or a drama, or, you know, they queue up around the block to see a blockbuster movie. But they're queuing up around the block to see DJs spin. So I thought, oh, that'd be interesting, make a film about a DJ, and obviously a few girls that are involved with him, you know, a couple of aspiring singers or whatever. So anyway, so I actually had that in my mind. I talked to a couple of writers. I was at the time working on a script about Elvis and his best friend, and then some other script landed on my desk from a guy that I called fuck, I can't remember his name. What's his name? Sorry, cut that bit out, okay? Yeah, anyway, so a script landed on my desk from a guy called James Ricardo that I'd met actually online at the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. And it was a fun script about a guy and 3 girls, and the whole thing took place in his bedroom, in this guy's bedroom. And I thought, wow, okay, that I can afford to shoot. A movie about a guy in his bedroom. And, you know, there was a farce, you know, and for years people used to go to the theatre just to see what we call bedroom farces, just nonsense going on in the bedroom. And so I decided to make this guy, instead of a loser, nobody guy with no job, I'd make him a loser DJ. And I stopped writing my Elvis movie, and suddenly I started, it was Elvis's 25th anniversary coming up, and I was listening to all the Sun record. I was so just really immersed in Elvis. So suddenly I made this guy a real Elvis-inspired character, and came up with a very unlikely idea of this DJ who's trying to break into the Miami club scene, spinning 50s music. Anyway, so that was the premise, really a couple of things prior to shooting the movie happened that kind of made me feel like this was inspiring. Was one of this girl that I'd known since I was a kid, Charlotte Lewis, who had been discovered by Roman Polanski. You know, after her, we were good friends, and she got discovered by Polanski, and it was all great. And then she did movies with Eddie Murphy and all this other stuff. Anyway, over the years, I'd always asked her to do films with me, and anyway, finally, after 15 years, she's like, okay, I'll do it. And so that was great. And then the next thing that was kind of cool was that JXL, a Dutch DJ, had a worldwide #1 in 17 countries with a remix of Elvis's song, A Little Less Conversation. So suddenly there was a dance smash hit Elvis track, which which to me again was a sign that actually this, as unlikely as it sounded, it was actually possible for a DJ to specialize in this and make a go of it. So that was great, and started making the film. It was very cool, and my girlfriend Tina Leiu was in it, anyway, found a great role for her, Samoan character. So she got to be this very powerful lesbian warrior that suddenly decides to dally with a guy. Anyway, so it was very funny. So all there's this guy and three women, and in fact, in reality, I had Charlotte, Tina, and this novelist actress, Fish, all living in my house while I'm making the movie, and there were huge cat fights, and it was very funny. So there's lots of sexual tension on the set and antagonism. And anyway, so did the movie. I was very happy with it. Got some good club footage in Miami, and then started to screen the film, and I changed the title from Hound to Hound Dog to finally Hey DJ. And I think because of the title, everybody that saw the movie at this stage felt like, well, there's not enough DJ stuff. We want more DJ story, more DJs in the movie, more of this DJ culture. And so I realized that, and I've made a bunch of films before, and I felt like I just didn't want to stop at this point with a film that wasn't quite getting, wasn't the thrill ride I was hoping it would be. So basically I waited a few months, and the Winter Music Conference came around in Miami, and shot some more footage. Managed to sing live for the first time in front of 40,000 people at Ultra, which was really wild. I managed to start making an album of I'd been living with DJ Hound Dog as a character and had these sideburns for 6 months at this point. So suddenly I'm actually living it. I'm now obsessed with making rock and roll work for the club. So I'm in the studio with my childhood friend Paul Linder, and we're creating tracks and writing songs, and finally I'm getting to sing 50 songs, which I always wanted to do. And so anyway, it was just great. But every time I finished a new version of the film, the reaction was the same. More DJ stuff. We want more DJs. So this literally went on for a year and a half until I finished it a few months ago, during the second Winter Music Conference. Got even lined up through a great Italian DJ producer, Argo, lined up 12 of the top 50 DJs in the world to actually make cameo appearances in the movie, which was a miracle. And then I thought I'd finished it, and suddenly Argo and the executive producer, Elliot Cohen, took the film to Cannes, got a terrific reaction. People were very interested in the subject, but they felt like, well, with all this excitement, we'd better deliver. So they called me up and said, can you arrange a shoot in Ibiza next week so we can go and get some more DJs to be in this movie? And so anyway, here I am. I'm in Ibiza. We just finished shooting for like 6 or 7 days or 9 days, and we added some very, very big DJs. Pete Tong, Carl Cox, Junior Jack, more Judge Jules, Eddie Halliwell, Ferry Corsten, who I'm sure you guys know who these people are. And anyway, these guys were fantastic. They led us into the DJ booths. We got to play out the finale of the film in one of the most incredible nightclubs in the world, Pasha, which was just again phenomenal. And so it's very exciting. So now, 2.5 years after starting this project, I really have a movie about a DJ. I have all the biggest DJs in the world helping this guy along on his journey, this fictional DJ. I got an album of rock and roll hybrid tracks that I recorded in the meantime that may or may not appeal to people. and it's a very, it's a very, it's a fast-paced, it's funny, it's definitely a very entertaining film, and ultimately, one wants to make a connection with an audience, for me at this stage on the largest scale possible, and I think that it'd be very exciting to. The DJ culture is very similar to the hip hop culture in America, or the 50s rock and roll explosion. It's very exciting. It's pop. It's youth culture. It's today, and it'd just be great to to actually contribute to that scene, and finally do something that's of interest to people.
Fantastic.
There you go.
That was great. Just talk a little bit about how you got started. Okay.
Got started because I started singing Elvis Presley songs when I was 10 years old. Used to sing to anybody who would listen. I'd sing to everybody. I sang Elvis songs everywhere. And I guess I always felt like I was meant to be famous. Don't know why. It was just, I'm not sure whether I wanted to perform or I wanted to be famous, or I don't know. It was like the chicken before the egg, Like I just felt those things were combined, and that was what I had to do, and wanted to be a movie star, and I guess arrived at the conclusion very early that to become a movie star, the best way for me would be to make my own movies as opposed to try to get put in other people's movies, because I tried it a little bit. I went to full-time acting school when I was 11, 12, and I wasn't very persuasive at auditions. I didn't understand the craft at all, and I was actually very introverted and I was very introverted. I was kind of overwhelmed by my own dream and the idea that I could walk into a room, and if I could impress somebody enough to make my dream come true was just too big a deal. It was too big. They felt my intimidation, as opposed to me walking. A lot of kids that just had attitude could walk into a room, could give a shit, and they get the parts. I knew what I wanted too well, and the people behind the desk would know too well that they had the power to give me what I wanted, and therefore they didn't want to give it to me, and therefore I realized I was going to give it to myself. So that's started a whole life of finding interesting stories and finding ways to get money to make them into movies, and moving to Hollywood and making independent films, low budget films with my friends for 10 years, and really today I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I mean, I managed to write, direct, star in my own movies about whatever the fuck I want to make a movie about, and it's not easy, but I seem to manage to get it done, and using some techniques that I learned at a company called Zero Pictures. I'm really never at a loss for money. I mean, there's always a way to make a film. You can make a film. You can always make a movie. Money's not the issue. The issue is, are you prepared to go all the way? And so I'm the luckiest guy in the world, really.
Okay, fantastic. Is there anything more, Jon, that you want right now? I mean, I kind of want to do
about myself.
Wait, Jon.
Okay, this is a very important fact, really. When you find, hey DJ, I guess I kind of coined a phrase with this title, and so besides the fact that everybody constantly asked me for more DJ stuff in the movie, really we have a tremendous responsibility in this film to kind of do justice to the DJ culture, and to the DJ culture, and this has been a great challenge, and I don't know whether we do. Certainly by having all these incredible DJs who really do so much more than you could possibly imagine. It really is far more involved spinning records in a club. But anyway, we tried to capture a little bit of this, the essence of the struggle, perhaps the mayhem that ensues in the life of a DJ when they start jet setting all over the world to spin. But anyway, that's it. Just wanted to say, it's been a challenge to do justice to the DJ.
Hi, I'm Tina Leiu, and we're here in Ibiza, Spain, at the end of our pickup shoot for Hey DJ. I star in it, and I play this character named Kat. She's this sexy, crazy lesbian who's out of control, which is great. I love to, get out of control. And Jon Jacobs basically casted me. He's my boyfriend, so I got lucky, I guess, because I don't think he was too sure if I could really pull it off. So it was a challenge for me, and I had a lot of fun. And I think I pulled it off. I hope so, anyway.
Okay, perfect. That was a great intro, and now tell me, okay, about what it's been like working on Hey DJ throughout.
Well, Hey DJ is now over 2 years. It's been,
Talk to me.
it's a 2-year project now, and I think it's been a great experience, working with all the different people on the set, the production. I love working in production. I work behind the scenes, I work, in front of the camera. On this last shoot, I wasn't in it because it was basically the end of the movie where I'm in the beginning and the middle with my character, and so we added a romantic ending to it, so I got to play the makeup artist. But I think Hey DJ has been a great opportunity, and all the people, the cast and the crew have just been amazing, and things that we've pulled off together. And my experience and relationships that I have with the people in South Beach has opened a lot of doors for like the clubs that we were able to get, which would have cost studios hundreds of thousands of dollars with extras. So, it's like guerrilla shooting, and it's just been a lot of fun to be a part of it.
Anything particularly challenging to you about the role?
Working with Charlotte Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the most challenging. But I'd have to say that I'm grateful because she took my acting to another level. I stepped up because of her, and working with Jon Jacobs as well. So yes, it was very challenging and rewarding.
Okay, lovely. Tell me how you got started.
How to get started?
Yeah,
Well, I was
talk a little bit about how you get started as a singer and as an actor.
Well, first as an actress, I studied for about 3 years, and then I went on auditions, and I just never got casted. Occasional commercial here and there, but I really wanted to do films, and I was living in Miami. And then I hooked up with this director, Miguel Delgado, and I was like, well, you want to be a director and you need to advance your reel, and I want to be an actress, I need a reel, so let me see what I can produce. So I went around South Beach and started producing independent commercials, which actually 2 of them are still airing today, 6 years later. And that's how I got started. And then I actually had a hand in producing Miami, the movie, helping with locations and connecting the right people. And I had a starring role in that. And then after that, that film went to the AFM, and so I went to the AFM with it, and I lobbied the movie for a week, and the last day I signed a 2-picture deal and went to Prague and did 2 movies back to back, and then I was like, wow, this is really what I want to do. So I moved to LA, and it didn't really work much. Started doing massage on the boardwalk, Venice Beach boardwalk. Met some amazing people, started singing the blues, literally, because I was so depressed. But I met this amazing blues singer from the House of Blues, and I started writing songs with him and started singing and on the boardwalk, and then I was a guest singer at the House of Blues. So, and then I had a couple showcases with the House of Blues band backing me. So, I don't know, that was fun. So I kind of my acting gave me the courage to give my singing a go.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, because because my heart really wants to sing, and I am so shy, really, that it's been a big challenge for me. I mean, I originally got into acting not to become an actress, but to get over my fear of public speaking. Because I was selling these vitamins in this multi-level company. Suddenly had an organization of like 300 people that I had to speak in front of. So I started searching for an acting coach to get me over that. And then after years of studying with her, I was like, you know, start working with my craft here just to see if, you know, if I should do it or I should do it. So, you know, same thing when I came to my singing. I to New York for about a year and just went on auditions just to do audition. You know, it was right for me, it wasn't right for me. I just go just to scare myself into, you know, over the fear of auditions. So that's it. See you later.